Welcome to the third annual Exhibitor pitch competition. How it works is we have 10 contestants. They each have 2 minutes to sell their company or products to our wonderful judges over here. And then once their 2 minutes are up, a buzzer's going to go off, and then the judges will have 2 minutes of Q&A. So let's go meet our judges. We have Michelle Primm from Cascade Auto Group. We have Bobby Sight from Rob Sight Ford, and we have Scott Dube from McGovern Auto Group. So let's get this competition started. Let's bring out the first contestant.
Most dealers are completely unaware that there's a very quiet, very stealthy thief amongst them, stealing from the pool of their hard-earned profits in a way that goes almost entirely unnoticed.
And this thief has stepped into every dealership across the country and comes in the form of credit card processing fees that you pay every time somebody swipes a card in your store.
These fees are constantly changing and increasing, and because there's no transparency, you typically don't even know how much it really costs you.
These dollars are taken straight out of your bank account at the end of the month, right when your controller is the busiest, and your banks and your processors get away with rate increases using some very fine print in your contract.
The average dealership pays between $5,000 and $15,000 per month per rooftop just to accept payments. And with 90% of consumers paying with plastic today, this expense is only getting bigger.
And dealers like you typically respond in one of 2 ways: by either passing your fees on to your customer, but if you do that wrong, you leave yourself up for legal issues, compliance issues, even audits.
Or by absorbing these costs because your bank doesn't understand your business. My name is Amberly.
And I'm Laura.
And we founded Dealer Merchant Services to help dealerships like yours save up to 75% of this huge expense.
And we help you do it without disrupting CSI.
We only work with car and truck dealers, and we have nearly 1,000 stores on our program across the country.
And our dealers have saved over $47 million to date and counting.
Visit us at dealermerchantservices.com or come see us in booth 8331. Together, we can kick this thief to the curb once and for all.
And put those profits back in your pocket.
All right. Very well done. So if we can't trust the banks,
Thanks, bad.
and we can't pass it on to our customers, how are you guys saving us all this money?
Well, to be clear, you can, in 47 of the 50 states, pass along those fees to your customers. But it's absolutely crucial that you follow state regulations and card brand compliance. And the biggest piece of that is that you never charge a surcharge on a debit card.
What data do you have on how customers react to having that? I think that's the thing most people are concerned about is, oh, my customers won't like seeing that 3% additional on the bottom, or whatever the number is on the bottom.
It's the most important question, and we never want our dealers to trip over dollars to pick up pennies. But the biggest piece of this is making sure that you're transparent, speaking upfront and often about your communication on both prices, right? So, Mr. Customer, your RO today is $206 if you use your credit card, but it's only $200 if you use cash, check, or debit. How would you like to pay? So you never want it to be a surprise at the end, and that training with your employees is a keystone to making this work.
So you don't want to surprise your customers, is that what you're
No,
saying?
No, sir.
Okay,
no surprises.
thank you.
So tell me more about your training and the support of the employees.
It's a great question. So we have a 2-fold training program. We start with what we call our Dealer Merchant Services University. This is our online training platform where we train and certify your relevant and customer-facing employees prior to launch. We've trained almost 15,000 dealership employees across the country with the word tracking and the technology and every piece of it. And then we come on site to each store and smooth out all the rough edges.
What happens, because things always happen.
Of course.
What happens if something happens at 6:05 p.m.? Are you available?
We are, of course. So we're stateside support, and we track all of that to make sure that you're getting very quick customer service. But at the same time, our accounting team is comprised of former controllers and automotive professionals. So we know your business, and we understand the complexity of it.
Personal question for you 2 ladies. You
Yes?
work in a male-dominated industry, changing. What gives you 2 the edge and the success?
Well, Between the two of us, we've had 52 years in the automotive in the automotive business. I have 3 brothers, which certainly helped, but we actually really love it. We have incredible dealers all across the country. So
Yeah, I started when I was 19 in the automotive business, and I've worked all of my way up through to general manager. So
Well, I commend you ladies, and you're doing a great job.
it's our pleasure to be here. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Maggie from ACV, and I'd like to introduce you to ACV AI. Now, I know AI gets a bad rep, putting extra fingers on hands, sticking to the chatbot that never solves your problems, but the ACV difference is that we're not creating something from nothing. Our technology was developed using data from over 4 million industry-leading condition reports. Accessible from your phone, wherever you are. All it takes is a VIN scan for us to tell you whatever you need to know when you're looking at a car. So it's not possible for you to know every detail about every year, make, model of every car ever made. We have that on our service and more. Let's take an older Ford Taurus, for example. You might not know that there's an internal water pump failure that happens often and requires listening for bearing noise behind the timing cover. In a parking lot looking at a trade-in, that might be pretty difficult for you to actually diagnose, but if you have the opportunity for a mechanical inspection, now it's worth the risk. Or a Porsche Cayenne, something 10 years old or so. Would you know that the clutch packs fail often in the transfer case? Would you know that you have to drive in figure eights feeling for binding? You might, but you might have someone else on your team to go look at that vehicle for you. ACV AI levels the playing field so that everyone is a gold standard inspector. Every car we look at in this business is a game of risk versus reward. At ACV, we're trying to mitigate that uncertainty. So whether you use it to appraise trade-ins, to gain confidence on reconditioning in the service bay, or to learn trends in the auction lane, ACV AI gives you the competitive advantage. Thank you.
A bell, some kind of alert sound when you want to tell a dealer, run away, don't buy that car?
No, so we're not looking to sway anyone with this technology. It's completely up to you. If you're a dealership that knows super engines specifically, right? If you know how to fix those, you might be, hey, I can get a deal on this car now. Somebody else might be scared away. So it's not really meant to make people choose something specific and more give you the amount of information that you would want to know quickly, so you don't have to, go Googling, looking through forums like, hey, what's the trend on this car currently? We'll tell you right away, and you can make your own decision.
So is that ACV AI a part of your core product now, or is it something you add on? Is it part of, if you're an ACV customer, do you just get ACV AI?
Yeah, so for right now, it is a product that can be bought within our Max ecosystem, but also all of our inspectors use it every single day when they're looking and conditioning vehicles. So it's something that is inherently inside of our production system, but it is something that you can get as a customer as well.
Let me try and clarify. So if I'm an ACV customer and I use it to launch cars or to buy cars, do I also have ACV AI as just part of my, is it in my app already and I just don't know it?
For Max-specific customers, right now, dealers would mostly see it inside of how the inspectors are doing the actual inspection day to day.
All right.
I'm not an ACV customer currently. I'm familiar with the product. What does your fee structure look like, just as a whole for your company, and including this AI product as well?
Sure. So this is more part of a separate piece that you would be a part of. So depending on whether or not you're a group or an individual rooftop would kind of determine those pieces. This is not an add-on cost. So this just comes as part of whatever program you decide to be a part of. Generally speaking, it's based on how many cars you buy or sell. So it's kind of a variable structure. But
All right, thank you.
My name's Rudy, and I'm from Graf Family Motors. And I'm an F&I director for 20 years. Y'all seen one of these? Who hasn't seen one of these? Let me see some hands. Okay, I don't bite. Little closer. Let's get in the crowd. I got some important news for you because I've been doing this for 20 years. My GM's on my ass. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm here to sell product and make money for the dealership, and all I hear about is more paperwork, more regulation, and I can't keep up with all of it. It's crazy. Look how thick this deal is. If you've been in F&I, you know how crazy this is. And all I hear about is CIT. Who knows about CIT? It's over the top. If you're over 5 days, you're doing pretty good. Let me tell you, we're at 10. And then I met these people at Comply Auto. They're over there at booth 659, and they use AI to look at this entire deal in about 60 seconds. Right when I'm done with it, I don't have to worry about any paperwork. They look at this deal and they tell me what's wrong with the deal. I fix it before the customer leaves the dealership, and guess what? My GM loves me. My CAT is down. My unfunded deals is down. I'm paying less interest on flooring. I've got less kick deals, and my customers love me. Because guess what I'm not doing? I'm not calling them up saying, hey, pretty, please come back in the dealership and sign a form that I missed. And of course, they don't want to do that, so then I got to bribe them and I got to pay money. I got to say, hey, come on in, I'll give you a meal, I'll detail your car. All of that is a thing of the past because in 60 seconds, using AI, they check my deal before the customer leaves the dealership, catches all my mistakes, my deal's clean, I print a certificate, and I'm rolling. And guess what I'm doing? Guess what the salespeople are doing? We're selling more cars, more product, making more money for the dealership. You got to check them out. Booth 659, Comply Auto. They saved my life. Thank you.
So how do you train the staff?
Great question. So we do a couple things. We have initial interview to understand the dealership because it is OEM specific. It's bespoke to the dealership. So if the dealership specific forms, we do all that initial setup remotely. Then we send one of our customer success managers into the store. They work directly with the F&I team to understand how to upload the deals, how to check the deals, get the certificates. So we do a lot of in-house training.
Who dressed you?
I would say my wife, but she's not here, so.
I don't think she'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks like my dear friend Jim Ziegler a little bit.
No,
years ago.
the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your PRU, Rudy?
Well, right now it's probably about 3,200.
All right. I don't doubt it. Love those sunglasses.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
You're very
it.
welcome.
So what do you, I do have one question. Do you scan all this stuff in? How does it actually get a look at the paperwork? How does the system look at it?
Great question. We have several different ways to get the paperwork in the deal. So we can, if you can print it, we can accept it. So you can do a print to deal check AI. If you can't print it, we have a partnership with Informative. So Informative gathers some of those things like driver's licenses, insurance information. All of that gets into a virtual folder. And if the last couple of documents need to be scanned, you just scan them and upload them. We can take one PDF, we can take 100 PDFs. We scan the whole thing and we check the whole deal, cradle to grave. It is absolutely crazy what it looks for.
So it's DMS dependent how this paperwork is going to be generated, right?
It is a little bit, but we work with all of them. So if you can print it, if you can hand it to the customer, we can take it. So that's part of our in-house training. We do that setup with you.
And e-contracting, anything going on?
We can do e-contracting because you send those to the customer electronically. They get a copy.
Yeah.
We just intercept that and pull it into our deal.
Great. Thank you. Great job.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Matthew Davis, trade pending. All that time and money you guys spend driving people to your website, only to have those people bounce because your trade-in tool takes 15 minutes and 50 pictures, your payment calculator takes 20 minutes, that's a problem. All the time that customers spend, 10 to 15 hours researching the next vehicle, and they show up at your dealership knowing more than your sales staff does, that's a problem. When people don't trust your service advisor because now they're getting a repair bill that's double or triple what they were expecting, they don't understand why, yeah, that's a problem. And when people will drive past your dealership to go to one farther away because that dealership took the time to send them a personalized video, that's a problem. When people come to your website and they want to know what the heck you offer for service and what it costs and they can't see it and they go to an Indy, problem. And when people are getting pounded over the head thousands of times over the 10-year ownership life cycle of their car by the big brands trying to lure them away from you and you got no response, that's a problem. So you need great people, you need great processes to solve all that. Having great products really helps too. That's trade pending. We are more than a trade tool. We help your website convert better. We make it easier for your sales team to sell. We grow your service business. Here's how. We got a trade-in tool and a payment calculator on steroids that converts in seconds, not in 20 minutes, and requires a background check. We got personalized video for sales teams to use to build that personal connection before they walk through the door. We got video for service departments because people need to see, to believe, to approve those extra repairs. Am I right? You guys know this. We've got digital brochures where customers can do all that research they need to do for their car in one spot. That's with you. Your sales team has the same information, so they're experts on every vehicle on your lot. We have beautiful OEM compliant service pages so people know what you offer. They can see you're just as good a deal as the indies. And our latest product, Value Watch, sends out monthly automated emails and texts to customers tracking their vehicle's value over time, promoting your service offers so they know that you're going to be top of mind for them over that 10-year ownership life cycle of their car. Trade pending 2025. Thank you. Oh my God, I got every bit of it in there. Woo.
How long have you been with Trade Pending?
5 years.
What'd you do before that?
I sold people's location data for a living. I was one of those people. Thank you.
So sounds like maybe I could get a trade value and a payment calculation quicker than your pitch.
That is correct. Super quick.
Less
10
than
seconds.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
10 seconds?
Less than 10 minutes. Trade-in tool, usually about 10 seconds. Payment calculator, around 45 seconds to 60 minutes.
And what's the real difference between your trade tool and all the other trade tools that are out there?
Yeah, the biggest
Just
one
pick
is
2 things.
Yeah. Configurable, right? So you can configure the trade-in ranges or the single price offer to match your acquisition strategy. And it's using real-time market data. We're not using wholesale values, not using book values. It's all based upon data that is close to your dealership as possible.
How does that impress the customer in terms of, like KBB will tell you they're a third-party validator. How do you see your product holding up under scrutiny from?
I think what impresses the customer is not so much the number on the car; it's the fact we're the only company that actually is transparent about how we got to that number. So here's the cost you faced as a dealer to recondition that car. The customer can see that. Here's all the supply and demand in the market. Here's your car compared to every single one else. So when they come in saying like, hey, give me a better deal, you can say, well, look, here's where you stack up against 35 comparables. Sure, you could get that, but you're going to need a mileage of that, and you don't have that.
I think a question that has to be asked, I mean, you're competing with some pretty big brand names out there.
Oh, yeah.
Blue Book. How do you attract customer, and what's your conquest strategy as a company to get customers to use and really recognize Trade Pending?
Yeah, we have a pretty well-built, established go-to-market team comprised of about 40 salespeople. I'd like to say we have one of the best marketing teams in the biz, but I run that team, so I'm going to be biased on that. But it is a sheer effort of just going out and knocking on doors. Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
How we doing?
Great, how are you?
Great. My name is Mike from Full Path. As we're in this massive booth and trade show hall, what is everyone here to do? We're here to generate leads to help dealers sell cars. And at the core of a lead, what is that? It's first-party data. And what are we measured on is how many leads we can generate to help sell cars. Now, when we do that, we spend money to generate that first-party lead. And as we do that, we spend a ton of money. But if you look into industry and you couple how we actually leverage and maximize first-party data, and then you look at turnover rates in dealerships that are north of 50, 60%, we're spending a ton of money for a data that we often barely use, and we live in these 30-day cycles. So what we want to do at Full Path is that we take all that data and we leverage all that first-party data that you have, and we organize that, we put them into audiences, and then we activate that data using AI and machine learning on a one-to-one basis based off of what we know about that consumer. Now, what that allows you to do is actually take the data, and instead of spending more money to say, hey, I need to sell more cars, what do we inherently do? We go to our marketing partner, and we say, hey, I need to sell more cars, here's $10,000, go do it. But we have a mountain of data that we have in our database that we can use, leverage, and activate to ensure that you don't need to spend more money, but before you spend more money on other people's data, you can actually maximize and leverage your own. Now, to the dealership, you don't have to go in and create creative, individualized messages to every single consumer because there's not enough manpower to do that. Now what you do is you send a blast message to your whole database, and it's not individualized to me, but we can actually use the unified view of the customer to drive the message, all the while you guys don't need to do the creative. And that happens seamlessly within our ecosystem, and that's Full Path. I was getting short on time.
No, you're good. So what's a good example of the creative that you guys do provide? I mean, you're talking about individualized messages. I mean, can you give us a specific example?
Sure. So if I know that you're on my site, and let's say I recognize you in our database, and you have $8,000 in equity, and I know you're looking at Ford F-150s, our system will recognize that A, you're on the site, B, you've done business, or you're a lead in our system, and I'll send you a message to say, hey, the Ford F-150 that you're looking at is X price, or the price just dropped, and oh, by the way, did you know that you have $8,200 in equity on the vehicle that you want to apply to it? And that's individualized to every consumer in your database.
And so you're a plug-in to a CRM, or you guys are a CRM?
So we're a CDP, so we integrate with your CRM and your DMS, and we roll all that data up, and then we activate from the CDP layer.
And like an example of how these notifications come in, how the salesperson will communicate, or is it a whole different system that you get into? You've got a CRM, you've got a DMS, and then you've got your platform that you log into and respond to customers that way.
There's a few different ways. We can actually integrate directly with the CRM, or we can actually push that data out to your sales team or sales managers every single day based off of what's happening with all your customers in your database.
I think you better see him afterwards, and he's going to talk to you about business.
We'll see. Come to booth 8137.
So are you keeping a record in whatever the CRM is? Are you also pumping a record into there so that when a person goes to call his customer that he knows, doing follow-up, he sees that something went out already? Does he already see that or not?
Yeah, so they'll see the whole thing. So right now in your CRM, it's based off the last lead source that goes in. We can see everything from what is called identity resolution. So when I resolve the customer, I know everything that you've done since the first time you came to the site and the end result. And then we also have a tool we just released called Data Ups, where we use AI to give you emails, call scripts, and SMS based off the CDP data.
Yeah, my question I think was different than that. We're out of time. Thank you so much.
So my name's Connor Windust. I'm with VetX, and we help dealers cut out the middlemen and buy inventory straight from the source, from the private sellers. And so, I talk to at least a dozen dealers a week, and they all say the same thing, that the money's made in the acquisition. So the million-dollar question is, how do we buy cars better? At our dealership, we asked ourselves that question, and we tried to answer it. We incentivized our sales staff to buy cars. We put a big sign out front that said, we pay more than CarMax. We tried every inbound lead tool that you could possibly imagine, and they all led to just a handful of acquisitions every month, and it wasn't enough for us. And then it hit us. We're sitting on a gold mine of private sellers that have taken the time to list their cars for sale in our backyard. So with that opportunity, we decided to get after it, right? We went all in. We hired staff, we dedicated the people, we built out processes, and it worked, kinda. We bought cars, we bought more cars than ever before, but it still wasn't enough. And we knew that if we could solve the obstacles and inefficiencies that we were faced with in that process, that we'd be unstoppable. And so we went all in on solving that problem. We built a software that does exactly that. We shared it with dealers across the nation. We were extremely successful. They were extremely successful. And so over the last year, we tracked the numbers and the results. The results are in. The cars purchased on VetX had an average $2,327 back of book. They had a 59% higher front-end gross. They had a 45% higher back-end gross and a 19% decrease in recon costs. So it's clear that these are better cars and that we want to buy them, but it's difficult to do it. The good news is that we've taken the time to do this, and we built a software that makes it easy. If you come to booth 8445, we'll show you how to revolutionize the way you buy cars. Thank you.
So do you want to give us a little insight into the way that the software works more specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a wealth of opportunity on private party marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and a bunch of others. But it's difficult to communicate with those sellers at scale, and it's difficult to filter out the junk that you don't want to see. So the software aggregates these opportunities and then filters out the junk and makes it easy to communicate with these sellers and make the right buying decision.
So the dealer remains the individual or the party communicating with the customers. You guys are just scraping the data, putting it together in a clean interface for us.
Yes, sir. We actually, when we started the company, we tried to do it as a service and use the system ourselves and set the appointments for the dealers. And then a few years ago, we went all in on training our dealers how to do it, and we've been much more successful with that. So it is the dealer that does the communication.
So does the dealer set up a shopping list or something like that so that actually filters the
Yeah,
stuff?
they actually can. So they set their initial filters, and then they set what we call saved searches, and we train them to prioritize the highest saved search first. So for most dealers, that's the CPO, right? The retail units that they want to put on the front lines. But if we can make money on the car, even in wholesale, then we want to buy it. So they kind of go in order of importance from that shopping list. So
does it book the car too?
It does, yeah. We have integrations with KBB, Manheim. There's a V-Auto integration and a DMS integration as well.
Do you have ACV AI connected to this?
No, we don't. No.
Damn.
Maybe you can help with that.
Yeah. There's a couple people down here that would help you.
All right, let's talk.
So obviously you're at a new car dealer franchise, independently as like just a used car, looking at that as an independent business. Are you working with new car dealers in particular, or are you working with a lot of independents as well?
We work with new car dealers, mostly new car dealers, but independents and even some wholesalers.
And so, take a Ford dealer, for instance. I mean, how do you help a Ford dealer, really attack, the Ford market?
We help them get all the best Fords in their market and meet all the Ford sellers, the Ford customers that we want to meet, engage, and have come into our dealership.
Okay, great.
That's it. Thank you.
Ready? Hey, my name's Aaron Cheeks. I'm the founder of the Auto Miner. I'm the CEO of Pure Cars, and I know that the future of automotive marketing and data and advertising is data. And like Mike just said right before me, I understand that housing first-party data, but also all parts of data, and how we weaponize that data in automotive right now for the future of customer communication and the advances of technology, both in programmatic media but direct client communication, is going to change in the next 12 to 24 months in a transformative way. So what we've done at Pure Cars is we're one of the biggest automotive agencies in the business today, and we've invested a massive amount of money to be a data company. So now I'm tracking every human being in North America, both anonymously and de-anonymized, so that I can send them the right message at the right time on the right channel based on how they're interacting with my store or my brand or my region, and now I can actually leverage that data across the entire life cycle ecosystem from day one of buying a car to day one of buying a car, and now we can leverage that in a completely automated way. Now everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. It's really popular on the show, walk around, everybody has it, but it's only as good as what it can eat. So if you don't have the right data foundation, and if you aren't leveraging it in the right places to solve real problems, it's just replacing something else that we're doing in the business today. And I know as an operator of a business, I have to increase revenue or decrease the expenses required to generate it, or it won't impact your balance sheet. So if my name is hanging on the sign, I have to impact my balance sheet by partnering with companies that can consolidate fees to help me improve the customer experience inside my OEM funds in my window, and also get me in front of the future of technology. Today at Pure Cars, we're a data company, and we're going to be the leading edge of automotive in the future. Thanks for having me. Questions for me?
You look like you've done this before.
It's my very first time.
Now you're lying to us.
I absolutely am. No, I was meant to be up here and talking to this. This is what I'm most passionate about. I've got so many folks in the crowd that are here to support, and this is what we do. So we're really passionate about what we're building and what we're bringing to dealers. Happy to be here. Yeah.
How many years you been in business?
Pure Cars has been in business for almost 20 years, founded in 2007. Mr. Jeremy Onspach was the founder back in the day, helped be one of the first programmatic media companies to scale inside of Google. So we're inside of 20 OEM programs today across all of those channels, and really poised to help dealers of all brands across the country.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is Jeremy still around?
He is. He's not here today. I think he had trouble getting in, but definitely a friendly.
Come on, no commitment.
No commitment.
You were here.
I will always be here. Indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions for me?
No, all good.
The first 2 minutes must have been okay, huh?
You did well.
Awesome. Hey, enjoy the show. I have a minute. So if I have 50 minutes, 50 seconds, as the founder of a business, I will tell you that innovation doesn't always live in the big booths. So if you haven't seen the back wall, if you haven't talked to CEO founders that are building in their garages, that are solving real problems for you, go visit the back wall. We started building 5 years ago in the garage, and now they give me this big microphone to make all this noise. Real innovation doesn't always happen at the big booths. Check out the small guys. Have a great show.
Imagine I put a toll booth right at the exit of your lot. None of your customers can drive away in their new vehicles without paying my toll. You're responsible for manning my toll booth, making sure there's someone in there at all times, and no one sneaks through without paying. I'm collecting $5 million a year in tolls from your customers, and your cut of that is nothing. My name is Michelle Walker with Poly, and if you're lacking an embedded insurance solution, that's exactly what's happening in your dealerships today. You're acting as the gatekeeper for lenders and municipalities, ensuring every customer has proof of insurance. Meanwhile, insurance companies are collecting millions in premiums, and you aren't benefiting. Poly helps dealers take back their that piece of that $5 million, but that's just the beginning of what we offer. With Poly, our dealers are able to improve the customer experience while increasing their core business revenue. In our 2025 car buyer study, 84% of consumers said they want the option to purchase insurance while purchasing their vehicle. And when customers get a competitive quote at point of sale, our dealers experience a 21% increase in vehicle service contract penetration and an 18% higher back-end gross per deal. Stop providing free labor for the insurance industry and start providing a better, more seamless customer experience. Come visit Poly at booth number 3527 and let us show you what this lost opportunity looks like and how you can capitalize on it. Poly helps dealers put the I back in F&I. I know those guys.
I think that the product itself conceptually does bring true value to probably what I can say personally and what a lot of dealers don't capitalize on their showroom whatsoever. I guess the question really is for dealers, is the juice worth the squeeze? What type of revenue are you able to drive to the store doing something like this? And what type of headache does it create, for the sales team or for the dealership itself?
So I feel like you asked me a couple questions than that. So I'm going to unpack the revenue opportunity first, because there's really two ways that our dealers are able to make extra money and really just monetize that insurance process. The first is that 18% increase in the back-end gross, which is real, and we've actually came up with that number after analyzing 1 million transactions from our current dealers. And that's just based on presenting Poly's quotes to customers during the sales process. They're seeing that higher back-end gross. The second piece is we actually compensate our dealers up to $75 referral for qualified leads, and that's money straight to the dealer's pocket on a monthly basis. The second part of what I heard you ask was about the process and implementing Poly in the dealership. All of our dealers are assigned a dedicated performance manager, actually like myself, and my job is to help understand your sales process and where we can fit it in without interrupting it and just make it a seamless interaction for your customers and your salespeople.
So is it a platform? Is it a website that we go to? How do you present it to the customers? Is it a part of the F&I menu process? How does this work?
All of the above. Actually, we are really meant to make it part of whatever you need it to be. So if you want to introduce it during the finance office, we can do that. We've got integrations available, and we're always looking to add more on. We also have an app that your salespeople can download and have in their pocket at all times to submit that lead off, and we have a website, so if they're at their desktop, they can submit it there as well. The difference is the customer is going to get that text, and there's two paths they can go. The salesperson can control the whole process, which is something they've never been able to do before, or you can empower your customers to do it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Peter Barba, co-founder and CEO of Lectrium, former Division I basketball player. Let's talk hoops if you want. And dealers have a massive problem on their hands. Their entire businesses, their websites, and their people were built to sell gas cars. What about EVs? What do I love about dealers? Dealers are entrepreneurs, and when they see a problem, they try to solve it. And right now, EVs are a major problem for dealers. Customers are asking questions about range, about charging, and about affordability. And people like Tesla are answering these questions, and dealers need to answer these questions too to sell more EVs. And at Lectrium, we help dealers answer these questions. We've built an EV range map, an EV charging map, and an EV savings calculator, which showcases the exact information consumers want to know to buy electric vehicles. We work with every website provider, dealer.com, Dealer Inspire, Dealer On, Dealer eProcess, And we have VIN-specific solutions that showcase the exact EPA range on one-way and round-trip basis. We have every level 3 DC fast charger in the entire country. And your consumers can see directly on your VDPs how far they can go with this car with every trim level, exactly which charging stations are in their area and how fast that car will charge, exactly which federal and state tax incentives the car is eligible for, and they can check their personal eligibility, and they can see their fuel savings, maintenance savings, and the exact information that the consumers are asking themselves right now, and that 12% of car buyers this year will ask. So anyways, Peter with Lectrium, we're booth 8317. We just got in today. Come stop by. My team's right over here. Say what's up.
Thank you for making it. You got the tech guru look going.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. As you look at these level 3 chargers that are in the area, and this might not be a problem that you can solve, but it's definitely an issue for EV ownership. I mean, are you able to assess the actual working capacity of those chargers? Are they up? Are they down? Are they actually functional?
That's a great question, and my answer would be dealers should recommend level 2 charging at home when possible for their customers. Level 3 charging is tough right now, and no one in this room can do anything about that. We need to wait for the chargers to be more reliable and to have better uptime, and for the cars to be built with NACS ports instead of CCS ports so they can actually charge on Tesla superchargers. So right now, we tell our dealers recommend level 2 and charging at home when possible, and still educate consumers on level 3 DC fast charging when they do ask, but it is tough to know the reliability and uptime. We cannot show that with our tool yet, but maybe we'll get there.
One follow-up question, when it comes to measuring EV range, how far this car can take you, an important factor as you shift climates and you shift weather. I mean, are you able to assess, what it might look like with the drop of 20 degrees in temperature with your tool?
It's also a really good question, and the answer is not yet. Right now, we're just showing EPA-rated range on new cars. So it's the official government range, and we do disclaim that weather can affect range, but we think that showing consumers a real map of driving roads, not just a circle transposed on an image, but the actual roads they can drive on, USA, Canada, Mexico, is a great way to overcome that range anxiety.
Don't you think, though, that part of the problem we have with selling EVs is range anxiety, right? And many of the tools are just like yours. I'm not picking on you, but many of the tools are like yours in that they don't take into account weather. One of the huge problems that nobody talks about is change in elevation. So if I got to go uphill for some amount of my trip, going up a mountain, I've got a problem. So I'd encourage companies like yours to try and take into account all of those things: origin, destination, in between.
That's great feedback. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, I'm Jamie with One Micro. Now, we sell a key system to dealerships that controls the keys in sales, service, dealer plates, and even spare keys to a manager only. Now, we actually won this in 2023 because we solve a massive problem for our dealers. Who has the key, why they took the key out, with a picture of them taking it out, uploaded to the cloud for 24/7 reporting. Now, actually, I'm not here to pitch the key system. What I'm here to pitch is a recent advancement we've made in our technology, and that's controlling pretty much anything. So this white tag can go on any asset that goes into our drawer or locker style system. So I can see who's taking that asset out, taking that tool out, why they're taking it out, for how long. So with that, for a dealer, there's really 3 areas that this applies: specialty tools, titles, and parts for self-service parts. So specialty tools, dealers have anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million worth of specialty tools. Put a tag on that asset or that tool, that goes into our drawer or locker style system. I know who's taking it, why they're taking it, how long they've had it for, with all that reporting to the cloud. Titles, the ownership of the car in a filing cabinet for anyone to have access to, no tracking or management. Put a tag on that filing jacket, put the title in our system. That's now controlled and transacted across the board. Parts, consumption of those parts. So you can put a tag on any part: oil filters, disc brakes, you name it, we can control it. It's a self-service setup for the technician to come get their own parts, similar to a vending machine. On top of that, real-time inventory. who's doing what by the day, by the week, by the month. Take that data, package it up, send it to the DMS or the OEM for automated reordering of your parts. So for us, timing's everything. The faster I can get a technician, salesperson, customer through a process, the happier they're going to be. Thanks for the opportunity.
First question is, what are you doing with that knife? And
I have a knife question too. How did you get on the airplane with that?
What's that?
How'd you get on the airplane with the knife?
I drove here all the way from Minnesota, so
All right, great.
I made it just in time.
What are the fees? What does it cost to buy these tags? I mean, you're putting them on titles. You're using a large volume of these things, and you're disposing of them. I suppose. I mean, I can't imagine that you're taking one off a title and reapplying it to another.
Yeah, they're more consumably used if it's what we call a consumable asset, like a title or a part. Each tag is around $2.
And so how sticky are they? I mean, if they're on special tools and stuff like that, how does it?
Very sticky.
Can they come off?
Go ahead and try.
Can I try and peel it
yeah.
off?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. It's hard to peel off.
Pretty
everybody
good
that can't
quality,
see it.
wouldn't you say?
Very hard to peel off. Yeah.
Any other questions?
First tangible product.
Yeah,
What's that?
we get tangible.
Yeah, there you go. If you want to come see it, 4027, we're there, and I can show you how to take a tool out of our system.
So what keeps people from peeling it off? It's hard to peel off, but
Yep.
our people are enterprising, so they'll work at it for a while.
Yep.
What keeps them from peeling it off and sticking it back in the drawer and then walking away with whatever the asset?
So in our lockers and our drawers, when you put it in, there's a antenna that senses that asset is in there. So when I take it out, I've removed that asset, and that's now transacted to the cloud with a picture of me taking it out. So sure, I can take it off, but I know that user took that asset out of the drawer.
All right, so you have specialty drawers. So let's talk about specialty equipment here.
Mm-hmm.
What is a specialty equipment type locker? What's that going to cost the dealer?
It can be, it depends on the size, right? If it's anywhere, any sort of handheld like a microwave, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Our lifetime on a machine is usually around 12 to 15 years before somebody considers a trade-in. So
you're using like toolboxes to house special tools, or how are you doing it?
anything you want to control, you put the tag on it and it's controlled.
We'll follow up.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great show.
Thank you.
All right, let's give it up one more time for all of our contestants. So, wanted to go over what our contestants will be winning. They'll win a customized trophy, and then tomorrow at 2:40, back here on the live stage, you can hear their whole 20-minute presentation. Ready? Yes. And the winner for the 2025 NADA Show pitch competition is Comply Auto. Come up here and get your trophy.